Welcome to RGV On the Rise, a limited series podcast about the economy and opportunities of Hidalgo County, the Rio Grande Valley, and South Texas. Please say hello to today's guest.
Welcome, Rosie Martinez, Hidalgo County Criminal District Attorney's Victim Unit Director. Ms. Martinez is a key organizer of an important annual event called the Young Heart Matter Teen Dating Violence Prevention Event, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. What is the Violence Prevention Event?
So we started this campaign. I actually started this campaign about almost 15 years ago when my daughter was in middle school. And I was concerned about her not knowing what a violent relationship was. And because she was in those teen years of exploring and possibly start dating, I decided to do some prevention events in her campus at a middle school, working with other teens and basically just having them take leadership of that program and talk to other kids because a lot of the times kids don't listen to parents or adults, right? They learn more from their peers. So this is how this evolved. Back in 2015, when I was appointed to start the victims unit here with the district attorney's office, I brought on the campaign and we started working with multiple school districts, not just the school district where my daughter was. And so it grew to, not just focusing on middle school. We started talking to high school students, and eventually, some of those high school students moved on to university. So the message kept spreading. And so, in our 10th year anniversary, I think we've reached a huge milestone already with a campaign because now we're partnering with Region 1, and that's opening our program to 8 more counties in the region, not just Hidalgo County. So, we're excited about that.
Not only partnering with Region 1, but also the Texas Council on Family Violence.
Mhm.
What do you hope to accomplish during this event?
So the key partner is the Texas Council on Family Violence because the Young Hearts Matter campaign originated from that program. The Texas Council on Family Violence is a statewide coalition that deals with domestic violence across the state of Texas. So they're a very important key partner in this because they spread our message statewide. We are the largest region that focuses on teen dating violence, and we've won multiple awards for that because of the movement that we created with youth. Because this is not just us going in there and telling them what an unhealthy relationship is. Our focus is to prevent them from falling victims of either family violence, sexual assault. Right now, it might be dating violence, but later on, as they grow up and they develop this type of relationships, they might either fall victims or they themselves might become perpetrators because that's just statistically proven with the data that we have from the CDC, the Center of Disease Control. So this is a public health issue, and we look at it as a public health issue. We collaborate with all entities from law enforcement, the community-based programs, our office, statewide initiatives, countywide, and regional efforts because we know that this is impacting youth everywhere, not just here in our region.
Well, obviously, you've been doing this for 15 years. How significant is teen dating violence?
It's very significant. The statistic that we have, we don't have good local stats because the youth don't self-identify. A lot of the times they don't even know that they're in an abusive relationship, so they don't know what to do or how to identify it. And culturally in our region, they have glamorized the toxica and toxico, which is something very big. Like we see it on social media. We even see it in cars where they'll put a sticker that they have a toxic girlfriend or a toxic boyfriend. And so they have normalized this type of behavior and to some sort glamorized it. That's something that's in right now in society is, posting about it. You can just do a hashtag toxica or toxico and you'll see the amount of people that are posting about that. So this is a wide message that's being spread on our social media. And we know that the trend with youth right now is social media. So this is where they're getting most of their information. So we are now jumping into that too. Like we're going to use social media to target them and give them the good information that they need to be able to identify so that we can have better data collected. But nationally, there's millions of teens that are exposed to dating violent relationships, according to the CDC website. So this is something that's very impactful among that age group.
Now, is your office has been very forward thinking in terms of domestic violence overall.
Right.
Is this comparable, or are there distinctions to be made between teen dating violence and domestic violence?
Teen dating violence or dating violence, because sometimes they'll call it just dating violence, is similar to family violence. It's the same pattern of abuse. It can involve physical abuse, sexual abuse, stalking, even, some harassment, online bullying, cyberbullying type of thing, especially with the younger kids, younger generation. That's what we see. We see an increase in online abuse or using technology to continue to stalk or harass on ex-dating partners. So that's very prevalent among them. But we see the same indicators of abuse with family violence victims and teen dating violence. So it's the same thing. I would say that the only difference is what they call it, because family violence is called family violence because it can include any member of the family. But it's still the same violence pattern of behaviors. With teen dating violence is your dating partner. But just recently, a law was passed to include dating violence as part of the family violence definition. So, even at the state level, legislatively, we've come to the realization that we're dealing with the same thing. And a lot of those high school relationships might turn into a family. They might get married and then the abuse continues, and violence will always escalate. So the prevention part of it comes to, we do not want to deal with the aftermath of this. We're tired. I'm tired. I've been doing victim service for 25 years, and now I've come full circle into when I was at a younger age working at the domestic violence shelter. I had kids there at the shelter that were with their moms that were victims. Now I'm seeing them as adults and they're victims themselves.
Wow.
So it's a generation, it's a cycle that needs to be broken. And so prevention is that we don't want to deal with the aftermath of when something happened to you already. We want to prevent it. We want you not to be the next victim in our case. And so we're big on prevention because we know it works. These are preventable issues because violence is a learned behavior. Nobody's born violent. And so we want to make sure that kids at a young age learn to resolve conflict without the use of violence.
Now, one of the symptoms of domestic violence is the tendency to not to want to hide it.
Right.
Is that true of teen dating violence as well?
I think it's even worse. It's actually called the silent epidemic.
Oh.
Teen dating violence is called the silent epidemic because, like I said earlier, at that age, teens lack the knowledge to recognize that they're in an abusive relationship. And so a lot of them don't even know, especially if they grew up in family violence homes, they have normalized this type of behavior. So then it starts happening to them, and to them, it's something normal. They deal with it at home with their parents. And so then the cycle just continues to perpetrate. So because of that lack of knowledge, they cannot recognize when they are in an abusive relationship until something bad happens. And that's when we get involved, right? When our office gets involved, it's because somebody got arrested and charged already for committing acts of violence against their loved ones. And then we have to take them to court and prosecute them. So working with this prevention campaign, we're trying to prevent them. We're trying to get them at an early age where they learn to recognize. We're not just going to go out there and tell them this is what a bad relationship is. We want them to know, if you are in a bad relationship, this is what you can do. This is how you can protect yourself. This is where you can call. This is where you can go. And most importantly, that they feel safe and secure, that they know that we're here for them, that they can reach out, that if they don't have any other outlet, because there's some kids that they're dealing with that at home. They're dealing with child abuse. They're dealing with many other issues, bullying, you name it. So this is not just one thing that they're dealing with. So we want them to know this is a safe outlet for them. They can reach out. We're here for them. We're not going to judge. We're going to try and get them the help that they need.
And Rosie, at this event, what are the types of things that you will be doing that helps him to begin to develop the understanding?
Right. So we have, of course, our annual press conference that, we're very thankful for the partnership with your office, because you guys are always there with us from the very beginning to broadcast the message, right? And let other people know that are not going to be there that can listen to the message as well. But we're going to talk about, what teen dating violence is. There's going to be a resource fair for them to know where to go for help, and they can see the amount of community that's out there to support them. That's the reason that we do this event, is so that they see. And so one of the sessions, we're going to be doing an art therapy session so that they learn how to use art to heal. and they can express their emotions, their feelings through art. And then we also have Homeland Security Investigations. They have a program that's called iGuardian, and because we've seen an increase in cyber crimes against children, we brought them in so that they can talk to them about online safety, how to keep safe online, if something's happening to you online, how to report it, who does what. So they have a really good program. So we'll have some of the special agents there talking to the kids. And then we're also going to have our juvenile division be out there talking to them about consequences as well, because a lot of kids think that because they're minors, they're not going to get charged with a crime. And teen dating violence is against the law. It's an assault, and depending on what type of assault they did, that's a charge they're gonna get. So we'll have our juvenile division out there and investigators talking to them about consequences. If they are perpetrators, if they're committing this type of violence against, a dating partner, these are the consequences, and this is what you can face, and the punishment and all that. So we want them to have an overall understanding of what it is to be in those abusive relationships as a victim, as a perpetrator, as a bystander as well, because I mean, unfortunately, we all know someone that's being abused. We can honestly say that. So, and a lot of the times, even us as bystanders, we don't know what to do. So the lack of information or the lack of knowledge or the lack of it's not my problem, why I'm not going to get involved, continues to perpetrate this.
Now, over the course of 10 years that you've put this program on, are there any kind of eureka moments that you witness among the students where they begin to, I mean, it comes home to them?
Right. So it's very common when we go out to schools, because like I said, the event is just one thing that we do throughout the entire year. We work with them. So every single time that we go out to a school, we have an outcry of one or two students that something's happening to them. And so we know it's happening. We know that the information we're giving them, they're listening, they're understanding, they're engaging. The other thing that we're gonna do this year is we're gonna have an expert panel. So we're going to have a lunch and learn for them. We're going to provide lunch for the students, and we're bringing in different experts in the medical field, forensics, investigations, child abuse, juvenile, all areas that we think of that, they might have questions on, and we're opening the forum to them to ask any question they want. We're not going to judge them. We're not going to say, oh my God, why did they ask this? We want to know from them, what is it that is impacting them? What can we do to help them? Instead of us just going and saying, okay, here's a list of signs of abuse. This is what you should know. Like, we want to engage them. This is a student-led initiative.
And it must be a challenge because over the course of the 15 years that you've been doing this, social media has evolved and it has become a primary means of communication.
Right.
How have you responded to the fact that social media is such a part of this?
So, for example, when I started, we used to do support groups in-house on campus. Now we're doing online stuff. Like, we can do virtual support groups. They can chat to look for help. They can chat with an advocate. So everything has evolved with technology. Even during COVID, when the entire world had shut down, like, we were still having to reach out to victims virtually. So we had to adapt to that. And especially with young kids, sometimes we think we're gonna go and educate them, but at the end, we're the ones that get educated, because every time I go do a presentation, they'll tell me something new that we didn't know. And so it's, catching up to those trends. Last year, we started going to elementary schools. So that's like the wow moment that for me, in that 10 years, I never would have thought that I was going to be talking to 9 and 10-year-olds about this. And the reason for that is because now almost all 9 and 10-year-olds have a cell phone. And they have access to this. They have access to forming online relationships, to forming dating lives online. Now it's not just meeting the person in school. Now they're meeting people outside of their area online from other countries. And so it's just evolving to a lot of cyber crimes against them, from sextortion to, them having to, they meet somebody online and they think that they're in a dating relationship, then they get extorted for child abuse, sexual material, and it's gotten to be a big problem. So we know that any child that has access to an electronic device, whether it's a phone, an iPad, a tablet, they're going to have access to the world.
Do you recognize that parents really don't understand as much as their children do with regard to social media?
Yes, definitely. Even us, because there's so many apps out there that, every time that we start doing this prevention work, something else comes up. And, we talk to the students. We don't just go out there and lecture. We talk to them. It's an honest conversation to get their trust. And last year, one of the presentations that we did with 9-year-old boys, I asked them, how many of you have a cell phone? And practically all of them raised their hands. And so we know that they're going to be exposed to some of this stuff inevitably. And then I asked, okay, so how many of you are on social media? All of them raised their hand. We asked, what outlets are you using? Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter. And they don't really go for Facebook, just a very few.
Just us old people.
Right. And then, the gaming thing is huge with them. Like all those Roblox and all the gaming devices, Xbox, PlayStation, because they have a method of communication there too. So it's not just them playing games, they're communicating with other people from all over the world. For adults like us, we grew up with stranger danger, right?
Yes.
They always told you, don't talk to strangers, don't get near the creepy white van. That was like a huge, right? You see a creepy white van, even if they're offering you puppies, candies, tacos, do not go near that van. Well, unfortunately, now the creepy white van for our kids is a cell phone.
Wow.
And unlike us, we had that stranger danger was only when we were outside playing. Our kids now have that in their hands practically 24 hours. They sleep with it, they go to the restroom with it, they eat with it, they go to school with it. So that means that they're going to be exposed to this 24/7. Unlike us, we went to school, we came home.
Right.
It was just periods of times where our parents had to monitor our safety. And unfortunately, those kids get those devices from their parents because they don't have the ability to buy a phone.
Huh.
And so this year, our focus is not just kids. We want to target parents as well and bring in some resources, some prevention education so parents can learn what the kids are doing online, what to do if they find out that something's happening to their kids. Because when crimes are perpetrated against children, the majority of the times we deal with a parent in crisis. That's the one that we're working with because they're the ones that are in crisis of what happened to the child. So yeah, we have a new, uh, I guess, initiative of trying to work with parents, and we're already reaching out to all the school districts to get their parental involvement programs involved and do something about this.
Now, this event at Region 1, when is it scheduled for?
It's for February 7th, and it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We are going to be at the Region 1 campus here in Edinburgh. And we're going to be providing a lunch for the students that are registered. And it was a pre-registration requirement. So we have 300 students confirmed from different counties. So this year, like I said, we're going to have Brooks County, Willacy County, Starr County, Zapata County, Webb County, Hidalgo County, and
Cameron?
Cameron
Okay.
County. So they'll all be busing students to us.
Wonderful. Any closing thoughts?
I just want for everybody to know that everybody can do something about this. Like, even if it's not happening to you, if you know of a teen that's experiencing some type of abuse, report it. Reach out, ask for help. And even if it's not for you, there's resources out there because it's going to take all of us to deal this needs a community response.
Rosie Martinez with the Hidalgo County District Attorney's Office, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
In our next episode, we speak with the Office of Emergency Management about how they help communities across the state and nation during natural disasters and what you can do to be prepared at home. Join us on February 19th for episode 2 of season 2 of RGV on the Rise.